the final story is another very interesting one I want to talk about, which is about Confederate statues being torn down in UNC. That's a university in North Carolina. So there's Confederate statues there, and apparently a bunch of people ripped it down and vandalized it, destroyed it, or as the media would say, toppled it, like they had some sort of huge victory over a statue of something that happened 300 years ago that's literally not affecting anyone's life. So what's really amazing about this story is that there's a black man, or African-American man, human being, my brother, American citizen, whatever you want to call him, but a Southern Confederate. He had a Confederate flag, a bunch of Confederate pins, and he was being interviewed at the statue. He was counter-protesting, a black man who was a Confederate, explaining why he didn't want the statue taken down. And I'll have to say, me personally, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know anything about the Confederate. I've never rocked a Confederate flag. I was always under the assumption historically that it was not a great thing to rep. But unlike other people, I'm not trying to tear down statues and rip it out of existence. I want to hear why people like it, because I've seen a few people in school. To be honest, I've seen like one or two people with like a Confederate wallet, and some of them were not great people, but some of them were some of the best people I know, and I know they aren't even remotely racist. So, I never asked them why they had a Confederate wallet. I just was like, oh, that's pretty weird. But like I said, some of them not good, some of them the best people I know. But I found out today, listening to this man, that he has a whole perspective that I've never heard, because I want to hear it. It's like, why do you like the flag?
Silent Sam, those babies were fallen heroes. Those are my heroes because they're Confederate soldiers. It's illegal to do what these people did. You can't solve anything by violence and by breaking the law. People come and say, oh, I feel so sensitive walking past that monument. I don't believe any one of them could pass a lie detector test because they've been told to do that. George Soros and all his folks, why didn't they do it 20 years ago, 10 years ago? I walked pure outright hate.
Hate for what?
Hate against the Southern people. Misplaced hate.
So you think the protesters hate people in the South?
Absolutely, beyond any doubt. If you had been there to hear the conversations that I heard today, nothing but hate. It's always slavery, the evil white man in the Southland of America. That's the biggest lie they ever told. If I was going to be mad, I'd be mad because you called me an African American. I am sick and tired, especially of the black race being duped and lied to about what happened here in the Southland of America. But I am opposed to the fact that they call this integrated military monument racist. The Confederate Army was an integrated army. When those ladies from the United Memorial Association started building cenotaphs to our fallen heroes, they didn't single out red, yellow, black, white. Those monuments, because it was an integrated monument, integrated military, was for all the Confederate soldiers.
He's explaining why he likes the Confederate Army and why he, appreciates the statue. And his pitch was so intelligent and so intriguing that it's just such a shame that they want to rip down these statues, because there are people like him that are explaining their side of the story. And he was talking about a lot of good things that the Confederate Army did. Like I said, I'm not telling you this. I don't know anything about it. But I'll probably share the video, later today, and hopefully not get taken down by hate speech by Facebook. But people, I think it's free speech. You should have the freedom to hear people's perspective and hear out why they want to keep the statues. So he had a whole different set of history that I've never heard, and a lot of positive things about him, and it should be heard. And I do want to say as well, there's people like Ron Paul who claim that the Civil War was never fought over slavery. Ron Paul says the Civil War was fought over politics. Every major country in the world abolished slavery without a war. So he said the Civil War, this is Ron Paul saying this, not me. He says that the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. That's a historical incorrection or a mistake. So, I'm always listening because I don't know the truth. I wasn't around then, but I'm like, here's what I do know. I do know that, a lot of historically racist things have been Democrat, but my teachers and the media wants to tell me they were Republican. I do know that, there were black people in high-level positions in the government in the 1800s, and to get equivalents in the Democratic Party, it took them till about 1993 to have somebody of the same skin color in that high-level position. So you have Republicans historically have always been the party of the black community until, you know, maybe the 1900s. So I do know that. I know that Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. So me personally, regardless of what I think about the Confederacy or the Civil War, because I'm still learning and listening to all sides trying to figure out what's going on, I say leave the statues up, because the same people that are lying about history that I can attain to are trying to tear down the statues. Why don't you leave the statues up so we can see our history? Are you going to tear down the pyramids because they were built by slaves or aliens? Are you going to tear down the White House because according to the Obamas, they were, you know, built by slaves? Are you going to tear down houses that were built by construction workers that were maybe indentured servants at a certain time or something? I mean, what are you going to tear down all of the world so nobody knows our history because you think it was bigoted? The real reason I don't want them to tear down the statues is I'm not convinced of the narrative that they're telling, because it seems like historically the people who are the most racist are the ones that want to tear down the statues. So what if they tear down all the statues and then we find out that they were the ones doing all the racist stuff and those were their people? I mean, it's not out of the realm. So I'll share the story later, but there's a really, really intelligent black or African American, whatever politically correct way you want to say it, to me, just intelligent, smart American citizen and patriot and really great guy, explaining his perspective that I've never heard. And I'm a learner, I'm a listener, I love to learn. I'm like, wow, no wonder they want to tear all these statues down, because they don't want people to have their side of history. And I see it happening all the time. According to Dinesh D'Souza and many historians, the KKK was founded by the Democratic Party. According to many historians, a lot of Jim Crow laws and a lot of the most racist stuff were voted on by Democrats and opposed and, tried to make right by Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Like I said, there were Republicans in high-level positions in 1880s, and it wasn't until 1993 that there was a Democrat equivalent. So, those are the people that are going to tear down the statues and tell me that I'm not allowed to learn history? I mean, come on. You can't just tear down stuff that you think is racist, that's historical, because then we can't learn about it. And I do find it completely odd and interesting that those are the same people tearing down everything, trying to manipulate the dictionary, trying to literally flip history on its head and tell you that, Mussolini and Hitler were right-wing leaders when literally they were, a heavy majority socialist, and they agreed with FDR's New Deal, and, they had universal health care, and they were environmentally friendly, and, they wanted control of media like modern-day liberals. So I'm not saying they were completely left-wing. You're not here, they're just like so. I'm not saying they're like Hitler. I'm just saying he had some qualities that are reminiscent of modern-day far right-wing people, and a lot of systemic qualities and political qualities that were exactly identical to socialists and a lot of people on the left. So I'm not saying that Hitler was one way or the other, but I am saying that I see them manipulating history today. I see them manipulating the dictionary today. I see them manipulating news today, and those are the same political side that wants to tear down the statues. So leave them up, because I want to learn about that history. I want to learn about that racist history, and I want to find out, was it really racist? Was the Confederate racist? Because this black man says that the Confederate wasn't racist, and he says that just like now, I find that a lot of Southerners, they say Southern comfort, and Southerners are very nice and welcoming. I've heard that from, many of my black friends that were born in the South. He says people are way nicer in the South than they are in cities. But if you read the news, you would think that the South is the home of the racists. So it's like, I want to learn. Just like Frederick Douglass said, famous black Republican from the 1800s, when you get rid of freedom of speech, you are doing two wrong things. You're suppressing the speaker and you're suppressing the listener. It's absolutely an insult to my intelligence that you're telling me you're not allowed to listen and come up to your own conclusions. You're not allowed to hear the racist people and figure out for yourself how racist they are. We're going to delete them off of social media. We're going to tear down the statues. And then we're going to tell you who's racist. And if you don't agree with us about who's racist, then we're going to call you hate speech and we're going to suspend you for 20 hours. And if you don't agree with our narrative about who's racist, then we're going to silence and ban you from social media. And we're going to use our major media corporations to brand you as an alt-right, even though you're literally like, if you take a political scale, you still lean on the left. We're going to brand you all these things, but you're not smart enough to listen and have free speech to think for yourself. and have critical thinking skills to determine what happened in history and what happened. I don't agree with it. So overall, I don't know much about the Confederate. I'm still learning. I'm going to share that video of that guy and hopefully not get my page taken down for hate speech. But overall, they shouldn't be tearing down statues. They shouldn't be manipulating history. They shouldn't be manipulating dictionary. And I'm sick and tired of the same people doing all of these nefarious, horrible things that are anti-free speech and anti-constitution, trying to call everyone else racist. And if you disagree with them, then you got to get ripped out of existence. This stuff needs to end. And I appreciate that there's people out there, whether they agree or disagree with me politically or historically, that stand up for the basic rights of the Constitution, that literally hold whatever oligarchy, democracy, offshoot, leftism, extreme, whatever you want to call it, whatever we have, you could call it whatever you want, whatever democracy we have hanging by a thread. Freedom of speech is one of the most important, and the Constitution is pretty vital. I was never really a fan until these last 2 years. I'm like, wow, the Constitution is pretty brilliant. These guys are pretty intellectual and wise. These things are not going to be taken down by people who have 1/30 of the intelligence and 1/30 of the wisdom that our founding fathers had. You're not allowed, just because you get angry and mad and you have a hissy fit, doesn't mean you could just tear down statues and tear down our Constitution, because you can't fathom or understand why it's so important. So, I have to stand up with people like that. God bless you. I appreciate you joining. Those are the 3 stories of the day. Michael Cohen, charged with 3 different things. We broke that down. The second one was Molly Tibbetts, a story of just complete sadness all the way. God bless her family. I hope that I didn't politicize it in any way. I'm just trying to report the news. I mean, I'm sure someone will get mad, but to be honest, out of everything I've watched on the left and the right, that was probably the least politicized piece that I've seen on it, because the left always wants to push their agenda. The right always wants to push their agenda. I didn't either. I just reported facts that nobody's going to talk about. And the third story is, Confederate statues being taken down, and a black veteran, I believe, just really having a thrilling speech there, holding a Confederate flag. It's going to anger some people, but wow, that was like powerful. I'd never seen anything like it. I never even knew half the stories he talked about. That's why I like freedom of speech. I want to hear both sides, and then I want to have a perspective of my own. I don't want to be told what to think and then yelled at if I don't agree. That's not freedom of speech. That's borderline fascism, totalitarianism, excuse me. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. If you would like, please sign up to my free email list. If you don't do anything, just sign up. And just to let you guys know, please don't email me telling me, hey, sign me up for your email list. Sign up. I have 180 emails to answer within the last 24 hours. That's a blessing. I appreciate it. But I can't answer like 30 emails saying, hey, sign me up to the email list. I don't have the time or the energy to do that. Please just click free email list. And if it doesn't work, try again in like 10 hours. I know there's a few people that say like there's an error. It should work on a different computer, maybe your cell phone, or just wait an hour. But please sign up to the free email list. Please, you can email, but don't email me asking to sign up for the free email list. That's not how you do it. You just click that link right there. If you'd like to support via Patreon and donor box, it helps tremendously. I'm overwhelmed literally with support. It's been such an amazing year, and as you know, I'm here working hard pretty much 24/7, just doing all sorts of stuff. And my new song, I Like Trump, is coming out Friday. I officially uploaded it. It's going to be Friday on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, Tidal. It's parental advisory. It's explicit content. I'll get an edited version out there probably in a month, but I'm sorry if you don't like cursing and you don't like rap music. This is not for you, but everything isn't for everyone. You know what I'm saying? And this one's for me. This one's for the people. This one's for millions of other people. So it's going to be a heater, one of the biggest songs of the year for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining. God bless you again. I'll be back later today or tomorrow.